Let's start with an example of basketballs. So first we have, let's say we add 2 basketballs, so that gives us 2, right? But then let's say we take a basketball away. What we're really doing is the problem 2 minus 1. So therefore we end up with 1 basketball. Another way of writing that is 1 basketball, just like that, okay? Say we have 3 basketballs. So we add 3 and then we take 1 away. That's the same as doing 3. That's a bad arrow. Let's try this again. 3 minus 1, which is just 2 basketballs, right? If you start with 3 and subtract 1, you have 2. And another way of writing that is 2 basketballs. Okay, what if we add 2 and then subtract 2? Well, we would add the 2 and then subtract the 2, and we end up with 0 times the number of basketballs, which of course is 0. This works for numbers as well. So numbers can be treated like objects because they are objects. The 3 in this case could represent, for example, 3 pounds of sugar, right? If you add 3 pounds twice, it's 6 pounds. Subtract 3, you end up with 3 pounds again. Or anything you can imagine. It's just an object. So if we add 3 twice, that'd be 2 times 3, and then we subtract 3, we'd have 1 3 left, just like with the basketball example that we started out with. If we, let's say, have 4 and we add it 3 times and then subtract it and then add it and then subtract it, all you have to do is kind of cancel out the number of times it's added with the number of times it's subtracted. So it's added 3, right? But then it's subtracted once, so it becomes 2. Then it's added again, so it becomes 3 4s. Then it's subtracted and it becomes 2. Therefore, we have 2 4s. And one of the things you can do, I don't know if I have room on here to show you, but you can kind of add a plus sign. And I'm going to have to kind of tuck it to the bottom, but you can add a plus sign to the 4. And if you count the number of plus signs and subtract the number of minuses, that will give you how many 4s you have. So there's 1 plus sign, 2 plus sign. Now we can add the plus sign to the first because 4 is positive, right, if it's not listed. So that's why we can add the plus, because again it's being added from 0. Anyway, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 positives, 2 negatives, so subtract the negatives from the positive. 4 minus 2 gives you 2. So that's a real good shortcut to use. Okay, how about this one? We have a lot of 12s, right? So instead of like doing it one by one, again, what you can do is you can use that shortcut I was talking about. So this is going to have a plus sign if it's not listed. If it's minus, it's already going to be listed there, right? So how many plus signs do we have? We have 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus signs, and we have 1, 2, 3 minuses. 7 minus 3 is 4, so we have 4 12s. And if you don't believe me, you can go ahead and recount these one by one, and you'll see that we have 12 being added 4 times once the subtractions are taken into account. And if you add 12 4 times, it's the same as 4 times 12. Again, for this one, we can go ahead and fill in the plus sign here where there is the A, and I kind of went overboard there. Let's try that again. Okay, so how many plus signs do we have? Well, we have 1, 2, and we only have 1 minus sign. So if you add a number twice, any number, A stands for any number, and then you subtract that number, you would end up with 2 plus signs minus 1 minus. You'd have 1 times that number, which gives you A back. Okay, again, there's no plus sign here, so we're going to go ahead and fill that in. Whoops, went overboard again. Okay, so we have 1, 2 plus signs, 2 minuses. Guess what? That cancels. So if you add a number twice but subtract it twice, no matter what order you do it in, you're going to have 0 of that. Just like if someone gave you $10 twice, say someone gave you $10, right? But then they took $10 away from you, then they gave it to you again, then they took it away from you again, you're going to be broke. So the pluses and minuses cancel each other out, and that's what we're trying to get at. So therefore, you'd have 0A, which gives you 0 back. This is even more, and whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's try this. Okay. Let's go ahead and fill in that missing plus sign. Now we have 1, 2, 3 plus signs, but this time we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minuses. So we have more minuses than we have plus. If we have 3 pluses and 5 minuses, that is the same as 3, let's try this again, 3 minus 5, and that will give you the negative 2a. So sometimes you have more minuses than plus, and in that case you still just take the pluses and subtract the minuses, and that will give you the number that goes, that will give you the number that goes in front of the a, which in this case is negative 2. So you'd be subtracting a twice is what you'd be doing. In general, these are the easy steps that you can follow. You can first count the variables, and then next you can just simplify. It's that simple. So count the variables and then simplify. The name of this lesson I decided to title Combine Variables. When you're adding and subtracting, one great word to use for that is combine, because combine just means to put together. So we're combining variables. We've already learned how to add and subtract them, and now we're going to do both. So if you take a, add a, and then subtract it, you end up with a again. That's just one example. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at this example. We have x minus x minus x. Now what's the missing sign out front? It'd be plus, right? So we have one plus and two minuses. That's going to become, if you count, 1 minus 2. So you have the 1 here, right? And then we'd be subtracting the two negatives, which gives you the negative 1x, right? And that just simplifies to, as we've talked about before, 1x. Sorry, negative x. Negative 1x simplifies to negative x. So therefore, we counted our variables first, and then we simplified. Final answer that goes inside the box is negative x. Okay, next example. We have y minus y plus y plus y, and then we have minus y again. So first step, we're going to go ahead and count the variables. We have, let's use green here. We have 1, 2, 3 plus minuses. Sorry, we have 3 plus signs and, let's try this again, 2 minuses. 3 minus 2 is 1. So remember, take the pluses and subtract the minuses. We have 1y, and that just simplifies to, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go back over here. How did I skip that? Okay, I got it back. Okay, so 1y just simplifies to y, and therefore, final answer is y. Okay, next we have xy minus xy minus xy plus xy. So the question is, how many pluses and how many minuses do we have? Well, if we write that out, we fill out the missing plus for the first xy, so it's 1 plus, 2 pluses, but then we have 2 minuses. Again, xy is a number just like any other number. Xy means x times y, and if you multiply two numbers, you get a number back. So just treat it like a single number. No matter how complicated the math expression is, you can always just think of it as a number when it's all said and done. So 2 pluses and 2 minuses just become 0, 2 minus 2, and 0 times anything, including xy, or square root of x plus y plus z minus 500, is still just 0. So therefore the answer is 0, and that's what's going to go inside the box. Okay. Let's take some simplice cars and add and subtract them. So we have minus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 minus police car plus 1 plus 1. So if we count that up, we have, and I probably should have used a different color, but we have 1, 2 minuses, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pluses. So 5 minus 2 is 3. And that becomes the coefficient of the cop car. So we have 3 total cop cars. So we counted our variables first, and then we simplified, which in this case we didn't have to do anything. So the final answer is 3 cop cars. Okay, so combining variables is very easy. All you have to do is count how many pluses and minuses are. Take the number of pluses and subtract the number of minuses. In this case, there's 2 pluses and 1 minus, so therefore you end up with 1a. So a plus a minus a gives you a, and you can do that for any number of variables, and that's how you combine variables.